Welcome back, everybody, to another Minus World episode from World 1 Podcast and NGR Radio. I am your host, Larry the Mustachioed Messiah. Joining me is Corey in Ultra High Def Hudson Derrick.
I'm here. I finished Portal. I did a thing.
You, sir, you learned how to think with portals.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I still tried
Well, you
to.
finished it, obviously.
I did. It was rough though. It was rough. I'm not gonna lie to you. I struggled. I I I struggled, and I got like more anxious realizing that people might be watching me play this game, so it made me not perform as high as the levels I wanted to. So
Corey, are you having performance issues?
I am. I
I
am.
mean, we know your internet connection is right now, but that's irrelevant.
Hey, my
So,
internet test
um,
speed said I am fine. It's
so did
Skype.
mine, but clearly there's a problem.
It's Skype. It's always
Fine.
Skype.
Skype is having performance issues. So, Midas World, we've been gone for a week or so just because of holiday and everything else going on. But this is our weekly book club show. We are wrapping up Portal this week, and we will be starting Portal 2 for the next game. But we wanted a chance to go over the end of Portal. So, Test Chamber 19 on through the end of the game. For those of you who have are just joining us, I've played through it previously. Corey is not, so Corey is a Portal virgin, no more now. Um, so Corey,
I got my fill of the
from
holes. You know what I mean?
that's right.
Yeah.
So
I got in there.
from a first time perspective, what did you think of Test Chamber 19?
I can tell you it was a lot more interesting than the rest of the game. Uh, I mean, not that like the rest of the game was bad or anything, but it was literally teaching you the mechanics of the game. Like literally teaching you the mechanics of the game and how to use them and how you can kind of combine them to do more. And then, that this is where like the actual kind of video game starts, where like, oh, okay, they kind of want to kill you and then you escape and like you're using the portal gun to escape, and that was cool. I mean, it was a cool ending, but I don't know. This for some reason I like I like the concept of the game and I like the concept of the ending. There was cake at the end though.
Yes, there was.
There was cake. I even said that in the Let's Play. I was like, well, Larry did say there would be cake. And there was
That's right.
cake. There was cake. And I
You
like
will
how
be
the little
baked and there will be cake.
I like how the little like claw comes down and like puts the candle out. That was cool.
It
That was
was
fun.
a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Little touches. So, um, so going through that last test chamber, you really get to see a lot of the personality behind all the clean sheen in Aperture labs or laboratories. But you also really finally get to start to know Gladys as well. Her personality really finally gets an opportunity to shine here. Um, I'm just kind of curious your thoughts on experiencing that for the first time.
Uh it was interesting. I was more concerned about getting through the game than I wasn't really like I know the point of the game is to like she's a big part of the game, but like I don't know. I don't understand why people like this character so much. Like it was just these like dry delivery of these jokes and it's supposed to be funny because she's a robot. And it was just like, oh, I get what they're going for. I don't know. I feel like I didn't enjoy Portal as much as 99% of the world has enjoyed Portal. Like maybe if I would have played it when it came out, or like, I think this is one of those situations where like maybe people's love for Valve kind of makes the game better in people's minds. You know, like
Well, I mean, I can still go back to it and objectively enjoy the humor, but I'm also a big fan of like that dry humor kind of thing. Um, to which the the delivery of Gladys really leans into that. Um, but I'm hoping that the playing through Portal 2 will maybe get you to enjoy Gladys a little bit more because you get to understand more of her. Like Portal 1 has Gladys kind of just as this solitary, I'm out to kill you joke. And I enjoy that for what it is. I enjoyed Portal 2 even more for the fact that um, you learn how Gladys came to be, and it really kind of makes you sit back and go, "Oh fuck, really? Shit." And it almost borders on making her sympathetic, but we'll get there once we get into two. But in any case, the other thing that I thought was really enjoyable is that once you got into Test Chamber 19 and you got through the incinerator, you start seeing more of the madman scrawlings on the walls throughout Aperture.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I like the part where, like, oh, now you get to see what's behind these walls, and you're kind of working your way through some vents and some, you're using some of the pistons or some of the moving parts within the building to, make your way through the building. I like the one particular room I actually liked a lot was there was great. Now this internet connection thing is gone on my screen, and now I moved my video to the top, and now it just keeps moving because, oh well. You know what? I'm just gonna keep talking. It's fine. People can deal with it. I like the room where like there's four kind of cubbies in the wall, and each cubby has one of the
Turret.
the turret robots in it, and you have
Yep.
to get up there and kill those robots, and then use those cubby holes to drop down and launch yourself into these other cubbies, without getting hit by these turrets. And like, I would shoot a portal into each cubby, and then shoot a hole in the floor to get into the cubby, and then I would shoot that same color portal into that floor and like kill the robots, and then then I would use the launch pads to launch me to other places. So, I mean, I liked a lot of the mechanics, and I actually liked the end of the game more than I liked. I loved the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I felt about the middle yet, especially for like timing puzzles. But I liked the end for the most part. There was a couple things that kind of frustrated me, but I did enjoy the end, and I enjoyed the kind of like, I guess what you would call the boss fight. Where
Right. That's absolutely what it is with taking Gladys apart one piece at a time, basically.
yeah, I did have a tough time trying to figure out the timing of that stuff, because like you only have 5 minutes to do it.
Yeah. And for the sake of honesty, it gave me problems the first time I played it. I struggled with that, and it took me several attempts to really wrap my head around it. But once I realized that, all the cores were going to be held and appear in the same place all the time, it became a lot more manageable, because at that point it was just a matter of remembering the order of where each core was going to show up.
Yeah. And then like, I had to like remember, okay, I got to use the portals. I got to use a portal to get to after you would get the pieces, like I would walk them over to the incinerator, and then I had to keep remembering, okay, I got to use a portal here to get to the button, and then use the portals to get back there faster, because the first time I was like trying to run over there, because like, I don't know, my mind still hasn't wrapped around using the portals to get to traverse the world.
Right.
And like, I was like, man, why is this closing so fast? And I was like, oh yeah, I got to use a portal. Like, it's weird. Not only do you use them to solve puzzles, you can use it to traverse. You can use it to kind of manipulate things within the environment. So
It's definitely a dual device.
yeah,
So
yeah. But I don't know. I think I would appreciate. I think I'm holding my reservations of how I feel about this game until I play Portal 2, because everybody says you're not going to appreciate Portal until you play Portal 2. And
I can understand that in your case, especially coming from the fact that you're not nuts about puzzle games. But that being said, like I said, I do think Portal 1 can be appreciated on its own. Portal 2 just makes it all the better.
mhm, yeah,
So, and I do think it's one of those things that for those that didn't necessarily enjoy the first Portal, that 2 has so much substance to it that it not only can it stand alone, but if you have played the first Portal, it it really does make the first Portal the first game better.
yeah, yeah.
So
There were a few puzzles where I would get frustrated, but that's just because like my mind doesn't work. Like I don't know, I have a hard time solving puzzles because I don't know, it's just the way my mind works. It just doesn't. There's a certain part of my brain that just doesn't like get it right away,
yeah,
and like I know that your first playthrough, that's probably happens to everybody, like there's I just felt I felt there were very few times after the first 8 or 10 chambers where I would get the puzzle on the first time. And, traversing through the laboratory, I just, I felt a little bit frustrated a couple times. Like, there was a area where you had to, crouch under this kind of platform. You had to crouch underneath it and shoot a portal straight up,
yeah,
and then to get up onto this other ledge. Well, I didn't realize that you had to crawl underneath it, and I kept shooting the top of it, and it just wasn't working right, and I was getting really frustrated, and I actually had to stop playing and walk away from it for a minute.
yeah. There's a couple spots in the final section that feel a little wonkier than they should.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I always kind of got that feeling with Valve games is that there's always something somewhere in there that the physics feel a little janky. Even though most everything else is pretty fucking spot on, there's always that one thing with a fucking Valve game that you're like, really?
mm-hmm, yeah,
And Portal is not an exception to that by any means.
yeah.
So,
I mean, I was proud of myself because I didn't look up any solutions to any of the puzzles, which, I wanted to do that for my first playthrough, and that's very rare for me to try to not look stuff up. Like even in something like Breath of the Wild, after a certain point, when I was trying to search for the shrines and stuff, after a certain point, I started
right.
looking up the solutions because I wanted to beat all the shrines and get
Yeah,
the
because some of that shit was just obtuse in Breath of the Wild, but that's neither here nor there.
yeah.
Um,
The I think the chamber I had the biggest problem with was 18, but
yeah.
that's because I didn't realize there was a button when you walk into that like that room where the turrets are and then the water down below. I didn't
Mhm.
realize that when you walk into that room to the left, there's a button up higher and you had to use a portal to get to that button to hit the button, you know. So but that was kind of my biggest frustration. The ending, like the 19 and beyond, I didn't have as hard of a time as I did from Chambers 10 to 18, but
Mhm.
there were a couple of times where I was like, man, I wish like just one of those charts would pop up to let me know like, hey, these might be some of the things that are going to affect you in this level, or these are some of the things you can use to progress through. But I did enjoy seeing like what makes Aperture work. I liked seeing like the scratches on the walls and like seeing where maybe previous portal gun wielders, was it test subjects, I guess,
Yeah.
like kind of went through and like were giving hints to people who maybe would make it out after them if they didn't make it.
Right.
That was really cool to see that, like, oh, you're not the first test subject. There's others that have tried to escape and maybe they didn't make it. And then
Well,
you would
not
see
only
like,
that, but
I mean,
the
you would see,
abandoned offices. And,
yeah, and then like you would see like broken portal guns on the ground, and you would go into like some of the offices, and there were that the area with the turret where you had to use the portals to guide the missile through to
yep.
break the glass to get through. That was a pretty cool segment. Uh, I actually really enjoyed trying to weave the rockets through like a little maze almost,
Right.
because like
I thought it was a nice touch.
yeah, because after you use the rocket to break through the first part, you have to go back and use a portal and then traverse through the hole you just made and then use the rocket to blow up a second hole, which I thought was like, okay, this is cool kind of backtracking style puzzles.
Right. Break open one of the cube tubes.
Yeah, cube tubes.
Eh, cube tube. So, but yeah. So I'm curious just to kind of hear your thoughts and feelings about the actual ending with Gladys, where you kind of get a glimpse at what makes her personality tick the way it does.
Um, it. I don't know. Like, I don't really have an opinion of Gladys yet because I don't know. To me, she was just like so one note, and there was like I think the first one you drop into the incinerator is like her personality node or something.
That was the morality core, the first one that falls off.
Yeah, and then like she just becomes kind of meaner, and
Super bitch, yeah.
that turret pops up and starts, you chasing you around, and I was like, oh well, maybe I use the portals to knock the big white balls off of her face, and that part was easy to figure out. It was just getting to the places because like after you knock them off, like you said earlier, like they just go to random places. Well, not random, but like places around the map that you have to use portals to get to them. And you actually have to use the different things you learned throughout the game to get to these places. Like, one of them is up on a ledge, so you make like the simple portal where you walk into a wall and you just place a portal higher up on the wall to get to the thing and carry it over. And then you have the one that's kind of higher up, but there's still a platform there, so you have to kind of do the what do you call it? The momentum one, where like you have to drop off the stairs into a portal to launch yourself forward to make sure you land on it. And then the last one was like the node was kind of hanging in the air, and you had to like jump off that platform, shoot two portals down, and you use the momentum again to launch yourself up to pick it up. At least that's how I did it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the mechanics were cool for that. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about her personality yet, because so far it's been so kind of like one note and dry, and that I'm going to kill you, just kidding, not kidding shtick kind of.
Right.
I mean, I thought it was funny like the first half hour I was playing, but after you kind of listen to it for 5 hours because you've never played the game before, it just kind of like, I get it. You want to murder me, but not really, but you really do want to murder me. I get it.
Yeah. And the other thing too is if you pay attention, and you'll find out more of it in 2, but she genuinely feels conflicted about it. Like, yes, she wants to kill you, but no, she doesn't want to kill you. But the question is, why does she want to keep you alive? What's compulsing her for that?
Yeah.
And that's an interesting tidbit that you're going to learn. But the other thing that I really loved about the final encounter with Gladys, though, was the way they broke down her personality into those cores. I loved listening to those cores.
Yeah.
Like
like that first one has that kind of like higher pitched voice,
one,
and she's like, "What's that? What's looking at me? Who are you?" Like, it was like I was like, "I don't want to throw you in there. You're kind of cute. I don't want to throw you away." And then you got like the last one was like the rage one or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, you're scary. I want to get rid of you right away."
Yeah. Yeah, the curiosity core was phenomenal, and even the mathematics and intelligence core makes me giggle every time, just because it's sitting there, rattling off the recipe for chocolate cake.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like when I was running through the first time, I thought they were rattling off the cake recipe because they were trying to murder me and put me in the cake. I didn't realize it was the core at first because I was doing so bad that there was like 18 seconds left when I got the second core.
Ooh.
That I was like, "Oh, if I die, they're going to put me in this cake and then the robots are going to eat this cake filled with me." And I don't know if I want that. But I think like I still don't know how much I enjoy this game. Like I enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed experiencing it. But I don't know if I would like put it on this pedestal that people seem to put it on. I don't know. I think maybe it's because I was getting frustrated and I don't like being frustrated. And I
can understand that.
But at the same time, I'm like, I do like the concept of the game, like solving puzzles with a gun and not necessarily just a gun, but like just solving puzzles, and they give you really simple mechanics that you can do a lot with.
To make a gun into a mobility device, basically, yeah.
Yeah, I like the things I did like was like I liked putting portals to move through. I like putting portals to allow the projectiles to shoot through one and go through another to hit buttons and stuff. I like the momentum ones. The ones I didn't really care for were kind of like the timing puzzles. And timing not necessarily mean like there's a counter, but like
just having to be precise while in motion.
Yeah, and then like, okay, this orb is going through this portal here, coming out here, and then I have to shoot this. I have to remember what color was down there so I can shoot that color up here so it can go through a separate hole. And once it comes through this orange one, I have to shoot an orange one on this wall so when it goes through this blue one, it can come back over here, like all while moving. Like, I don't know. And then making sure I line everything up correctly to like, because like the way I was kind of looking at it, I was like, I know what to do. It's just like I'm not being precise enough, and that was frustrating to me. And I know that's a thing that's on me. It's not the game. That's just on me not being good enough at lining stuff up. But that stuff kind of like frustrated me because I'm not really good at eyeballing how to line things up.
Yeah, there's a couple things that do help with some of that. Like they do
like the little glowy orbs, like if you watched where they went, they would leave little black marks on the wall.
Char marks, yep.
And
the
I would like
receptacles would actually shine a little faint red light on the wall opposite them as well.
Yeah. And
it helps guide you. The other thing too that you had mentioned was the fact that, trying to remember what portal you just put down last, and there is an indicator for that on the actual portal gun too.
I know, but every time I didn't have any problem shooting the blue portals. It was the orange ones that I had to remember that like, oh, left trigger also fires the gun. And so like
right.
There were a bunch of times when I would mean to lay down an orange portal and I would shoot a blue portal and I would have to start the puzzle over because I messed up. And I mean like that's on me again, like you just got to remember, you idiot. But like the timing.
Makes you feel any better? I had problems with that the first couple times I played. I really didn't have much history in standard FPS controls at the time. There wasn't much in that genre at that particular point in time that really had me interested in playing it. So Portal was the game that one of the few games that made me finally go, all right, it's time to get comfortable with these controls, learn to fucking deal with it.
Yeah, and lately I've been playing so many shooters and stuff the last probably like 3 years, if you like Destiny, Halo, Overwatch, and even Fortnite, PUBG, Rainbow Six, like all those have similar yet a little bit different, just different enough control schemes to screw you up. And then
Right.
when you in all of those, the left trigger aims down the sights, or in Overwatch it's like a power move or whatever. And so when you get to Portal, like I wasn't used to having my gun have a second functionality to it, and so I would just naturally when I went to wanted to
You
shoot a
froze on
portal,
me.
when I would shoot a portal, I would just naturally use the right trigger.
Right.
So, I mean, again, that's on me for not like paying attention to the controls or whatever. But,
No, I get it, and I can't fault you for that by any means. It's understandable.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, the game,
but
like, here are my kind of basic kind of final thoughts on the game without giving it like a review score, because I really kind of think I need to play Portal 2 to give this game what it deserves, right?
yeah,
The
I would say so.
the mechanics are super sound. I like the art style. I think it's simple and clean and really kind of delivers like, okay, this is what they want you to think it is as opposed to what they really are. And then when you get to Chamber 19, you kind of see what it really is.
Right.
I think the movement is very 2007 PC gaming, where it like kind of feels like you're skating around the level, you know,
Well, I
instead
mean,
of like
it's a product of its time.
right, right. I just like, you know, you're used to a little bob or a little like
Yeah.
shaking, and this is just like shoo, shoo, shoo.
Well, that's almost trademark Valve in that regard
Mhm.
too, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because I mean,
they kind of set the bar on PC gaming when they were still making fucking games.
yeah, because what I remember Half-Life and Team Fortress being that they were also very kind of skatey.
Oh yeah.
So it almost felt like a slower version of like Quake or Unreal Tournament. Also, just that kind of skate move, you know, like.
Right.
And I actually felt a little bit when I played Doom a couple years ago. I actually almost felt the same way, where like Doom is very skatey and very fast.
Yeah.
So I mean that's just a PC shooter thing in general. So, but mechanics felt great. The art style's great. I like the concept of the portals. I would, if I was to score this game right now, I would give it an 8 probably.
That's fair.
You know,
It's by no means perfect, but
I did like the end where like you kind of get sucked up through the roof, and then there's this bright light, and you just end up outside with all the debris laying on the ground. And You're just like, oh, I'm outside. This is cool.
right. Right. You realize you're not just in a building, but you've been underground the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So that was cool. And then like when the credits rolled, like you just kind of that song that's playing, you just kind of want to do a little
Jonathan
dance.
Colton, by the way, big shout out to Jonathan Colton. That dude is fucking awesome. If any of you have played Left 4 Dead in the, I believe it's in the DLC for Left 4 Dead 1. That might be 2, but there's some of his handiwork in there as well, and he also did the end credit song for Portal 2. That man is brilliant in all shapes and forms. I was a big fan, actually. Just a weird side note. There used to be an animated show on G4 when that was a thing still, called Code Monkeys.
I watched Code Monkeys. It was on Netflix for a long time too.
Yeah, the opening theme song for Code Monkeys, same guy.
That show was funny.
But
I enjoyed that
no,
show.
seriously, I did too. But check out Jonathan Colton stuff. Go out to his website, just search Jonathan Colton. He gives all his music away for free. He doesn't charge a nickel for anything.
That's insane, dude. He's
That
so
dude is
talented.
super
Like,
baller. He
like-
really is.
I mean, like I get that he gets like contracting gigs from obviously from places, but like to give out your own music for free, like
Oh yeah,
that's insane. Or someone that talented.
yeah. A buddy of mine got to see him play live, and apparently this guy just like put on a full-on like 3-hour show. Just played everything.
Wow.
I was like, God damn. But yeah, Jonathan Colton's the man, and he he totally made the ending of this game perfect in every way. But yeah, I think we've covered most of the nuts and bolts of Portal.
Yeah.
It feels like it. I mean, it's
How do you feel about Portal? Like where like on the grand scheme of things, since you've played this, what, probably like 6 or 7 times by now, like
minimum
yeah,
more times than I can count.
where does this kind of rank on your pantheon of games? Like, is this like top tier all time favorite games? Is this like I like this game a lot? It kind of sits in that second tier of games that I enjoy playing. Like
This sits up high for me. Um, First and foremost, I am a spatial thinker. Um, like when it came to mathematics, geometry was my thing. I love spatial thinking. So when I saw this when it was first coming out, my jaw hit the floor. I'm like, that's fucking brilliant. And I could not wait to get my hands on it, and I chewed through it as fast as humanly possible when it came out. I like that dry wit humor that is very trademarked to GLaDOS in this first one, and you'll get more of that in the second. But even without the context of the second one, I liked the character of GLaDOS. She made me laugh.
yeah. I mean, there were definitely moments where I was like, "Oh, that's funny," but like
Well,
a
and at
lot,
the
most
time
of it,
too,
or well, like most of it was like at the beginning, and then like some of the jokes, like I understood what she was going for, and like most of them were like, some of them were hit, but like I could see where a lot of people who like love this character would be like, or really like that dry sense of humor, like that's hilarious, and like some of it just didn't hit as much as I think it would for other people, but like the ending really hit for me, like especially when like because the orbs kind of represent her split personality kind of thing.
well, it's not so much split as each one of those cores is a specific personality trait,
Right.
and all those traits together make up her personality.
Yeah.
Which is why, at the end when she mentions that, that's the morality core they installed to make me stop flooding the enrichment center with a deadly neurotoxin, which, I thought was fantastic. They're like, she's awful and she's killing everyone. We should probably patch this.
You think
Stability upgrade.
Yeah, you think they would have thought about that beforehand, but
Well, and again, when you find out how GLaDOS came to be, it will make more sense.
yeah,
Even on its own, that joke alone made me laugh.
yeah,
That joke gets less funny and more sad, actually, by the end of Portal 2. And I will say something you do have to look forward to, because I know you said you really enjoyed kind of getting to see the nuts and bolts and the inner workings of, Aperture at the back half of the game. You're going to see a lot more of that kind of thing. Not exactly, but you're going to see a lot more of the dirty side of Aperture in Portal 2. So, I highly recommend, if you haven't yet, I'll link it to you. But the trailer for Portal 2, just the initial teaser, it got my juices going so hard. It really did. It took that super clean, white look, and it still got that feel, but at the same time, you can see that the lab has been sitting dormant for a long, long time, and just the hues and the color palette and the visual tone that they took with it was and is phenomenal in Portal 2, especially when like it's been sitting dormant and broken for so long that like everything is overgrown and like the vines are trying to retake the lab and shit. It's very cool.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like Portal 2 is our next game for Minus World. Like I think we said that on the last show, but like,
Yep,
and I think we've already said it this show too at some point. But
we
like,
did.
I'm like I said, I want to wait my judgment on this game until I play through that game because I know, feelings change based on how the story kind of unfolds in Portal 2, and then you'll
Yeah.
appreciate Portal 1 a lot more. So like, I'm kind of reserving judgment right now on that, but like my impressions right now are like I like the game, I enjoyed the game. I don't know if I would put it in any top tier thing for me at this point, but again, I'm trying to wait for Portal 2 to kind of reserve judgment on everything because I want to make sure I get the full experience and like make sure I kind of learn the game like how everybody else has kind of learned to appreciate it. So
Yeah. I will tell you the puzzles in Portal 2 are going to be more challenging, but in
yes,
terms of narrative, I do think you're right. For anybody that Portal 1 didn't strike home with, do play Portal 2 because I think retroactively it will make Portal 1 a better memory for you, a better experience in just like I said, retroactively once you've played through Portal 2 and you've gotten the story where and that's one thing. Don't get me wrong. There is some story in Portal 1. Granted, it's a little light and a lot of it is kind of told through the weird stark scenery. It's very
well I mean that was some of my favorite parts of the game was like seeing it's like the environmental storytelling as opposed to
exactly.
like that last part of the game is you see like I said earlier like you see where other test subjects have tried to escape and they leave little things around the world and that was cool to see. Like you see the scratches on the walls and said I only made it this far, and then you see like the arrows kind of carved out in I don't know if it's blood or like scratching through the wall or whatever, and then you see
Right.
like the broken portal guns and the companion cubes and everything kind of scattered around, and then you see the broken staircases that seem like somebody tried to escape but somebody caught them. Like it was really cool to see that stuff, and I wanted more of that, which like by all accounts you're saying Portal 2 is more of that. So
You'll you'll get less of the scratchy madman scrawl thing going on. Um, there are there are bigger problems happening in Portal 2 to deal with. Um, it's it, Portal 2 is going to take a weird turn that's going to turn your whole conception or your whole expectation on its ear, and I'll leave it at that. So, um, but that being said, no, I Valve's environmental storytelling is on peak display in Portal 1, especially in the back half of that game. Um, Again, I just for me it rates high even on its own. Um, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting into Portal 2 with you here in the next installment going forward. Um, I am thinking, and I need to double check here real quick. Uh, Need to find out breakdown just so we can let everybody know um, how we're doing bookmarks for Portal 2. Um,
I'm assuming that Minus World's going to be a couple episodes longer.
yep. Portal 2. Need to remember how many chapters there are. Figure it out. Let's see here. So we got 9 chapters in Portal 2, and I do recall them being fairly meaty a piece. So I would venture to say a chapter a week.
Okay.
Uh, so that'll take us for 9 weeks. And like I said, they're fairly meaty. Some of them don't necessarily have a bunch of test chambers per se, but there are some fairly lengthy test chambers instead to make up for it. So it's gonna push your limits, and you definitely need to go into this with a solid understanding of the mechanics of Portal One. They are they're going to push your limits on that, and they're going to introduce a couple of new things later on too to supplement them. But I won't spoil the surprise any more than that. So,
Surprise.
but that makes right. Um, but in any case, but no, for me, Portal ranks high. I adore Portal. You know, I do have a certain fondness for it just because I played it when it came out, and it was fairly groundbreaking in concept at the time. And you'll forgive me for not fact checking this right here in Meow, but I recall reading that Portal actually started life as a group project for a college class by a bunch of folks, and it got picked up by Valve from there, and it was then fleshed out and kind of given the personality that it had by means of GLaDOS. So, I also speaking of personality, one of the other characters I think doesn't get enough attention in this is the turrets. I absolutely adore the turrets, and it's almost heartbreaking to see them kind of sad and broken as you're making your way through the back end of Aperture to get to GLaDOS.
Yeah.
You just kind of look at him and go, "You should be scary, but you're just broken, and that makes me sad inside."
Yeah, and like they kind of like let out this little like yelp when they die, because they're like,
yeah.
and then they just kind of like die.
Please tell me you finally put one of them through an emancipation field.
What? Where they just kind of go through and through and through?
No. The emancipation field, the grids at the end of the test chambers.
Oh,
Oh my god, it's one of the best things ever.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, you try and carry them through, and they die. They kind of like scream. They're like, ah, as they fizzle out of existence. It's fantastic.
That's funny.
Oh, they're wonderful. So, but yeah, I adore the turrets. I do think the turrets gave the game a small break from the straight up dry humor. They were a little less wry and a little more straightforward, almost bordering on slapstick, sans the fact they can't really move. So,
yeah.
But in any case, any final thoughts that we missed that you want to share with the class?
No, not really. I did like how the game kind of wrapped up, and the how the credits rolled was kind of unique. You know, that was fun. And then, you know, after the credits roll, you just kind of see the cake sitting there on the table. I was like, start again. I was like, no, I'm good. I'll play Portal 2 now. But yeah. I was like, well, there is cake. Larry did promise me cake, and there it is, and I'm not inside it, so that's even better.
Yeah, that's forever one of my favorite lines from Portal is at the end of Test Chamber 19 proper, when you're going into the incinerator, it's, you know, you will be baked and there will be cake.
Fair.
So I love that they give little hints along the way that they're planning on killing you and putting you into the cake.
Yeah.
There will be cake and grief counseling offered.
Grief counseling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
So, but yeah, I think we've covered this fairly well. I'm pretty happy with this, and I want to say thank you to everybody that dropped us some notes and questions and comments and feedback and whatnot for the first installment of Minus World. We really do appreciate it. We apologize that we ended up with a little bit of time off due to Easter and some other shit going on, but you know, again, we are looking to make this a regular weekly installment. So, but that being said, next week we're going to pick up with the first chapter of Portal 2. So we'll have played through that, and we encourage you guys to do the same as well. If you're looking for it, it's available all over the place. You can get it digitally. It is backwards compatible on Xbox One. You can pick it up on Steam for your PC, obviously, since that's Valve and they just print money now. And then, of course, it is available on PS3. I can't confirm if it's backwards compatible for PS4 or not.
It's not. Nothing's backwards compatible on PS4.
Heathen bastards. So
it's on PlayStation now, though, if you want to stream it.
Yeah, that's a way to do it too. But there are multiple ways to get your hands on it, and it's fairly reasonably priced. So you probably won't pay more than $20 for it, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think it's only $19.99 on Xbox One or on Xbox Microsoft Store, whatever you want to call it. So,
and I know coming out of Portal 1 that feels a little steep, but Portal 2 is much, much, much meatier. It's a very substantial game, whereas Portal 1 kind of felt like a proof of concept. Portal 2 is taking every one of those concepts to its logical conclusion. So, but in any case, I think we've covered it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we did. And if you guys want to kind of join in the book club conversation, you can. This is we're aiming for this to be like a community kind of driven thing. So we want community members to participate and even maybe be on the show sometimes. So
yeah, I mean, we did this first one solo just to kind of lay down some groundwork for some format, let you guys wrap your head around it a little bit and get a feel for it and let us know if you like it or not. And we like I said, we got some positive feedback, which was nice to hear, and we want to say thank you to everybody that left that feedback. We really do appreciate it. We hope that you continue to tune in and enjoy the hell out of this, and from week to week, chapter to chapter. We would love to have different members of the community on to talk about the chapter of the week playing through Portal 2. So make sure you hit us up in the comments and let us know if you're interested, and we'll get you dialed in.
Yeah, and we'll put you in a nice little colorful box like we are.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll probably be a white one because it's the only other color.
So, well, ladies and gentlemen, Corey, I want to say thank you to everybody for checking out Minus World. I've thoroughly enjoyed at least getting to do this first game, and I'm tremendously looking forward to doing Portal 2. It's been a long time since I've sat down with Portal 2, actually. I will give you the heads up, Corey. Be prepared. Don't feel bad. Use a walkthrough. There's some of those. It's gonna fucking brain bend you.
I probably will. I'm not gonna lie. So I mean, this next one, like, I've been playing with the idea of not talking during the Portal Let's Play, like the Portal 2 ones. Like, I did it a little bit with the end of the Let's Play that went up earlier this week, like, of not talking while playing, and then I realized my microphone was on and I was kind of cussing under my breath because it was so hard. But like I think for Portal 2, I'm literally just gonna record the gameplay and like kind of edit it down to where, okay, we're just gonna move through. The Let's Plays will be kind of like the fast version instead of me trying to figure everything out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna try to figure out the puzzles on my own, but like if I need a walkthrough, I'm not gonna not look it up like I did for Portal 1.
Yeah. Also, side note, if anybody is interested, I would totally be down for co-oping some Portal 2 with somebody. And that's something too. That there is a full co-op game in Portal 2 that is completely different than the single-player campaign. So, which big ups to Valve for back in the day actually giving a damn and doing cool shit like that. But in any case, so yeah, if somebody wants to run some co-op Portal 2 with me, hit me up, let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section there. That aside, if you haven't already, subscribe, ring the bell if we did well, so you get all those awesome notifications that are just so swell. So, other than that, guys, thank you again. We'll be back next week. Peace.
See you guys. Portal.